Hi everyone and welcome to SalesFit TV. What we're trying to do with SalesFit TV is create a portal, a resource of information for anyone who wants to be amazing at sales to be able to plug into and learn some tips that we've learned at Sales Activations over the last few years. So today we're going to follow on from our last episode, which was about how to get hired, how to get your job in a multinational. Because as we know, if you're working for big brands like Corona or Ben & Jerry's, the benefits are massive. I spoke to the brand manager for Corona, for example, just after he came back from 3 weeks touring Mexico, shooting their latest TV campaign. And to hear him describe what he was getting paid to do was just astonishing. So that anything that we can do to help you land one of those jobs in your future career, we're going to share with you through this program today. Today, we're actually going to talk about the stage where you've got yourself into one of these companies. So you've been able to sell yourself through an interview process, and now you're actually starting your first day and your first week or so in that new business. And there's a few things that you can do to make sure that you stand out as one to watch over your career with that new company. There's also a couple of things that you need to make sure you don't do. And after this session, you will be much stronger in being able to just steer your way through your experience with that company. Now, the first thing is an obvious one, but it's very, very important. You need to make sure that everyone you come in contact with gets the feeling that you understand that they know 10 times more than what you do about this business. If you're with a multinational, guess what? They are massive. They're far-reaching, and they've been selling these brands really well before you came along. That's not an insult, but that's the reality. So no matter how hot you are, whatever you've just come from, how you're going to change the world, all your interactions with everybody from the person cleaning the bathrooms through to the receptionist through to your boss's boss needs to get the feeling from you that you're quite humble and there to learn, and that they have got things that are going to help you become a stronger person in that business. The second thing's a simple one, but again, it's one of those intricate things in life that you want to try and pay attention to make sure you get right, to make sure that you get the first impression in your company, because you only get one first impression, and that's blend in. Each company is going to have a different culture. Some of it's going to be more introverted, and some of it's going to be more chest beating. Whatever it is, take a back seat for those first week or two, and just blend in, okay? Doesn't mean you have to change, it just means that you have to really sort of just watch your surroundings, watch the etiquette, watch all elements of the business culture, whether they be good, bad, or indifferent. You're just there to soak that up right at that point in time. The closer you can get attuned to that area without standing out as someone who's either really opinionated and has got all the answers, or someone on the other end of the spectrum who's just too shy and hasn't prepared themselves to be able to talk confidently to any one of their new colleagues, either of those things are going to just put you at a bit of an unnecessary disadvantage. So blend in, soak up the surroundings, and be really humble with everybody that you're going to come into contact with in your new business. The next one is around research. Now, any company that I've joined in my career, they're multinationals, they've got offices all around the world, they've got policies for this and policies for that. Now's the time for you to cram as if you've got an exam coming up in 14 days' time. I really mean that you'll be able to jump into their website if you've got access to the intranet that these businesses have, which talk about their brands. Then after dinner at night, just jump on there for an hour and a half, 2 hours to learn something new about what's happening within your own business, just the environment. That's really going to help you be able to talk to anyone from the different functions that you come in contact with anything to start a conversation and feel as if you really care about the role. The second thing that you're going to need to research over and above your job tasks are the brands. So I'd be just diving into as much stuff you can find either on YouTube or any old ad campaigns, that kind of thing, that you can start to see the history of your brands. The alternative is to wait for all this stuff to be served up to you, and you can do that, but you won't make a fantastic impression. And this is about making an impression as somebody to watch, somebody who needs to be treated a little bit differently because they're hungry to learn and they're prepared to show that they're going to work for this job and make it stand out. The key thing that I think you want to think about is the person that hired you and gave you that role took a risk. So it's no different from buying a second-hand car. You don't know what the car's like. you looked great in the ad, it was really clean, but you just don't know. You've taken a risk. And if you come home to your husband or wife and the thing, starts blowing smoke and falls over in the first kind of week, then you feel stupid. You want to make sure that you're not that second-hand car. You want to be that car that was an absolute bargain and just runs like a dream, and it makes the person who anyone was involved in hiring you look like a superstar, and they've got absolute talent when it comes to picking you and adding you into the team. The next thing that I want to talk about is something that you can do, and it will make a big difference. It might sound a little unusual. I want you to create your own targets for your first couple of weeks. So you will be explained your job targets and how they fit into the broader business. That might be, I need to go and do 50 customer visits, I need to get a certain amount converted. There'll be those sorts of metrics. I want you to add in your own metrics just for your own personal peace of mind. And these can be over and above things about just, if you've gone to see customers, how many you've asked about their level of satisfaction with, the last 2 or 3 reps, and what sort of things can be improved, and ask for a rating out of 10, for example. It doesn't really matter what it is you're measuring. You'll choose whichever measurement you do. But the fact that you're measuring something will give you some information that can be really helpful to your manager and their manager. A quick example is after week 1, people are going to be starting to question your manager, hey, how's Jessica going in a new role? If you have been able to go back and talk to your manager and say, yep, look, this is what I'm learning, these are my gaps, this is what I want to close off. And I've also, just out of interest, polled some of the customers that I've come across and just tried to get a gauge on where we sit out of 10 versus our competitors. And these are the results. That's a really simple but powerful thing that you can do to drop into the conversation to go, you know what? Jessica's one to watch. She's thinking like an entrepreneur. She's here to really learn. So she's doing the basics that I've asked her, but also she's created some other just smaller measurements that are of interest to her, because that's going to make her a stronger person out there in the field in her role. So those roles, those small touches can make dramatic improvements to your career, your time span for getting promoted, if that's what you joined this company to do, and your likability factor once you've fit into this new culture. It's a really important part of your life, these first couple of weeks, in terms of showing these people who you're going to be working and spending hours and hours of your life with, who you are, what sort of person you are, and what your work ethic is. Now, I think, Chris, we've got some questions coming through from Facebook or Periscope. We might go to one of those now.
Yeah, so Belinda from Victoria wants to know how she can get recognised if she's spending most of the first part of her job in the field.
Okay. Great question, Belinda, was it? Yep. Great question, Belinda. I think that's a really common thing that's going to come up when you're in a field sales role in a multinational. That is that your boss is quite often in the office, head down into emails or back-to-back meetings, and here you are, you're out there learning the ropes, and you've generally got maybe 1 or 2 other people guiding you through the role. I think that the key thing that I would say, Belinda, is you need to make sure that you're getting as much information and making a really strong connection with the people that are training you in the field, hands-on. That goes without saying, and I'm sure you're doing that. And then I think when it comes to the opportunities where you do get to pop your head into the office, might be for a weekly meeting or a monthly catch-up, that you're a little bit prepared in terms of, if you get the opportunity to talk to someone, try and strike up a conversation that really, pays some sort of attention to them and their role in the business. It doesn't matter who it is at this point in time, I think. It could be someone from the operations side of the business, but when you're making a cup of tea in the lunchroom, I'd be just trying to use that as an opportunity to say, hey, I'm just here, these are the things that I've learned that I really like about the business. What do you do? And take those opportunities to ask genuine questions about that person and their role. And then if that goes really well, ask for a follow-up opportunity where you can sit down with them and say, hey, look, I'm only 2 weeks in, but do you think maybe next time, just before the sales meeting, I could come in and grab 10 minutes and you could talk me through your career and talk me through, what it's like to be in marketing or operations or whatever. And you'll find, I think, that if you're actively looking for people and you ask them about their careers, they're more than willing to be able to help you. And in helping you, they get to know you and know that you're just, again, that person that's standing out of the crowd. You're in the top few percent of new people that they've seen come through because you've got over yourself to be able to go and strike up a important conversation and talk about the business and their role. So that hopefully, Belinda, helps in some way talk about when you don't have 9 to 5 access to the broader team, you still are able to make a great impression and someone who they feel as if the people in the office feel as if they've got to know. Guys, those things are pretty simple but powerful tools. Remember, you've got this job for a reason. You went through a lot of blood, sweat and tears. You went through a lot of stress, applying, wondering whether you get the job. Now you've got it. Now's your time to really make yourself fly and make sure that if your job is to get promoted in X amount of years, right about now you should be starting to have in the back of your mind, all right, how can I shorten that gap without being someone trying to take everyone's job? How can I make sure that my performance is recognised, is powerful, and of most obvious benefit to the company? So I really hope it helps. As I said, SalesFit TV, you can keep in contact with us. We're going to have more and more of these discussions to be able to directly help you become more powerful in your role. All the best, and we hope to see you soon. Thanks.